Every career starts as a dream, a belief that someday you'll join the greats and line up next to them on the same field, in the same league. That dream required incredible sacrifice just to even make it to this point. For the coaches and teams of this league, they dream of the right player that changes everything for their franchise. Tonight, those dreams collide. Welcome to Madden's NFL Draft.
And we are live here at the 2025 fourth string team selection draft. I'm your commissioner, Jeff Solomon. Thank you for joining us. It's a night of excitement, folks. We've got plenty of athletes in the green room waiting to find out where they're going to play this season, and we couldn't be more excited to share that with you. Right off the bat, a big announcement. The Seattle Seahawks have traded their entire draft for the number 1 overall pick. That's right, Seattle is now on the clock.
All right, Chal here. I'm here with another assistant commissioner, Nick. We're here to introduce you to the Madden 2025 NFL Draft and get it started here. Seattle just traded all their picks. They got the number 1. Clearly, they have something in mind, whether it's a big-time owner. Nick, you know we have a couple owners here who are head and shoulders above most. Do you think Seattle made a move up to number 1 to get their guy, and who do you think it is?
I would have to agree with you. They want somebody, I would imagine, to get the most out of Kenneth Walker and DK Metcalf. You know, Geno Smith's aging. They don't really have a backup plan there at quarterback. Drew Lock's not exactly the answer, I would think, for the Seahawks. They do have a pretty good defense. They've always been stout on the defensive side of the ball. I guess they're looking for somebody to replace Pete Carroll.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to go with an owner who's more run-centric or someone who's more of a team builder. A couple guys there that are worthwhile to pick, depending on what route they want to go. If they want to utilize Kenneth Walker, a couple guys in mind. But it looks like the commissioner's coming up, and he has a pick.
With the first pick in the fourth string draft 2025, the Seattle Seahawks select Bear Sherwood from the Pacific Northwest somewhere.
Bear Sherwood goes number 1 overall. Clearly, we saw that happening, trading up. Gets one of the best owners, one of the best team builders, a guy that's able to do something with nothing. He's here to develop players, and hopefully if they can find a young quarterback, Bear's the guy to man that ship. Nick, what's your thoughts on this pick?
I think it is an outstanding pick. I mean, it definitely shows why they gave up their entire draft for somebody who could probably make the most out of Geno Smith in his final year, or maybe even turn Drew Lock into something special.
Yeah, I mean, Bear gets to stay close to home, doesn't have to move far. He's from the Pacific Northwest, gets to stay with his hometown team, see if he can make some magic happen. Meanwhile, the number 2 pick coming up, New England just got jumped. Seattle traded a lot to get there. Do you think New England had their eye on Bear? Do you think they have something else in mind with that roster they have?
I would have to say that they gave up that first overall pick having to assume that the Seahawks were going to take Bear. I'm not exactly sure what they have in mind with letting him slip away from them, but I mean they got a haul in return, so we'll see what they do the post Belichick era.
There's a couple guys in this league that are from New England. Maybe they look that way. I mean, they need someone that can build a team first and foremost because their roster is not great. On the top of my head, there's still 3-4 guys out there that are really good team builders and can make them contenders real quick. But as of now, I don't know what they're going to do. This whole draft is a mystery, which is the beauty of it. New England's up here at 2. Maybe they thought Bear was their guy. Now they're panicking. Looks like they're taking a while, really bleeding the clock. But it looks like the commissioner's at the podium, so we'll go to him for the announcement.
With the second pick in the 2025 fourth string Madden NFL owner draft, the New England Patriots select Kevin Kevlar.
Wow, what an absolute shocker. New England, wow, going really out of their depth. They grabbed a guy that's out from Alaska. I'm not even sure how they heard about him, if I'm being honest. I mean, he's out there. He barely gets any internet. I don't know how they reached him. But hey, they said, we want this guy. We know what he can do. We know what he can bring. And with the number 2 overall pick, they go with Kev. He's going to have to move, but, very, very far. He's probably never even been to New England. Probably doesn't even know where it is. My main question when it comes to this pick is New England and their ownership willing to pick up and move to Alaska?
That's the question, right? I mean, a storied franchise there in New England. I don't know if they would even get any fans to stick with them if they were to move to Alaska. Robert Kraft, that's an interesting decision there, man. I don't know what you're thinking, but well, Kevin does like to huck it, chuck it football. He does love to throw it deep, and that's something New England hasn't really been known for lately.
When it comes to this team and their new coach and owner, I guess in a sense, Kev, he needs to find that 99 speed receiver, but the rest of the roster for him, where do you think he starts that build? Do you think he starts it at the quarterback or trying to find his guy at that receiver position?
I think he's going to look for a deep threat receiver to start off. He might try to get 2 to 3 of them.
I mean, he's not known as a big trader. He does his scouting homework, especially on wide receivers, so maybe he can pull one in the draft, but it's tough because then a lot of the league wants those guys. You have to wonder if he's willing to forfeit a season to get that kind of pick. It's a tough situation in New England. Not a lot of players, especially with Judon just leaving, so we'll see what Kev can do. Hopefully New England stays. Love them as a franchise. Don't want to see them leave the NFL for Alaska. But it looks like the next pick is up. We see the commissioner strolling on down. So let's kick it to him for the pick.
With pick 3 in the 2025 4th string Madden NFL draft, the Los Angeles Rams, who have been there for several years, select I'm waiting to see who they pick. I don't remember. O'Brien? Who the fuck's O'Brien?
Chase.
Oh, Chase O'Brien. Good stuff.
Great job, Kamish. I'm glad you know the people that are in our league.
All right.
That's going to take some editing.
Well, it looks like the commissioner had one too many beers today. But if anybody is confused, the Los Angeles Rams have taken Chase O'Brien. Oof. I was hanging with the commissioner earlier. Sorry, guys. Anyway, to the pick. The Rams go number 3. They take Chase. Chase, good user in this league. His biggest problem here, it's a hard team to manage. He's coming into a rough situation. Older Matthew Stafford, older Cooper Kupp. A lot of money on the books with those two. Still paying Donald. Nick, you guys were in the same division last year. How do you think he manages this team? What do you think he does?
Okay, having played in the same division as him last year with Trevor Lawrence and moving on from him pretty quickly, I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to pawn Stafford off to somebody. But, the Rams, they've got Puka Nacua, so at least if Cooper Kupp retires on him pretty early, he does have another stud receiver out there.
Yeah, nobody wants Matthew Stafford, though, so that's not going to be easy to do. He could be the next Dak Prescott of the league. I think Matthew Stafford was cycling in and out of free agency during Madden 23 or 22, one or the other. He was just picked up by every team. But we have our next pick up. The commissioner hopefully gets this one correct this time, so let's see what we got.
With the 4th pick in the 2025 Madden owner draft for 4th string leagues, the Carolina Panthers select Corey, the Fragile Eagle, Freedom Eagle, something Eagle, I don't remember. Okay, bye.
All right, with the number 4 picks, the Panthers go with Corey. My main concern
on the stage there, I thought they were having trouble finding him.
That's my main concern with this pick here. The Panthers, they need everything, a full rebuild from the bottom up, and they need a great owner to do that. But you have to wonder, is Corey that guy? Is he going to be present enough to take care of that team? Is he going to answer his phone when the GM needs him to do things? Is he going to pick up calls for trades? I mean, you just never know when it comes to Corey. Otherwise, I love the pick for the Panthers. I think he can help them rebuild, but getting a hold of him, man, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Panthers do seem to like acquiring talent and letting it go. So, you know, maybe they have plans to just, you know, bring him in, hopefully build the team a little bit, and then set him free.
Well, with the loss of Brian Burns on defense and the second year of Bryce Young, you're hoping Bryce Young can take a step forward, but they didn't do much to help him with weapons. They built a little bit of an offensive line around him. But do you think Bryce Young is his future? And what do you think he does on defense? Because they don't have anything.
Yeah, Bryce Young's situation is going to be interesting for sure. And defensively, like you said, with the absence of Brian Burns, and I'm not even sure if I could name a defensive back on that Panthers roster. Is J.C. Horn still there?
I think so. I don't know where he would go.
I mean,
that's probably the only player.
Knows just letting everybody go. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation, but it looks like the next pick is in. The Raiders have made their decision, so let's kick it to the commish.
With the 5th pick in the 2025 4th string NFL draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Galen Super Bowl champion Hyder.
All right, with the 5th overall pick, the Raiders go with Hyder. First thoughts on this one. One of the oldest franchises in the league, takes one of the oldest guys in the league, and the league dad at that. You know, this is run by a family, the Davis family. Everybody knows and loves the Davises. But, you know, an old Super Bowl champ, ex-player, should really be able to help this Raiders team go to the Super Bowl or even go to the playoffs, which is something they've been lacking for decades. So hopefully Hyder can bring them to the front and put the Raiders back on everybody's mind in that new, beautiful Vegas stadium. In terms of the roster, though, I don't have a lot going on for them. Nick, what are your thoughts on this roster? What Hyder can do with them?
So he's going to have to decide if he wants to go with the Minshew Mania or if he wants to go with the young Aiden O'Connell. Me personally, I would probably ride with Minshew. He's shown that he can win. And he might be able to make a connection with Devontae Adams, but I mean, you know, Devontae's kind of older, but you probably get some good value out of him on a trade. So it'll be interesting to see what he decides to do with that.
The intriguing part of this is Hyder hasn't been in the league long. I think he joined maybe season 3 of this previous Madden 24. So nobody really knows how much of a trader he is. Nobody really knows how he builds a team or his play style or anything like that because he hasn't been able to do it on his own. Raiders could be a perfect fit for him. Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, I feel like they're the same age, if I'm being honest with you. Like Gardner Minshew can't be that much older. But, you know, he's had some decisions, and we'll see if Hyder's big into trades, who he's moving around, and really get a feel for him in this league. He is the dad of Bray, and Bray's done some things, so maybe he can follow in his son's footsteps, which is something we don't hear very often. The Commanders are on the clock, and it looks like the pick is in, so we're going to go ahead and kick it over to the Commissioner.
The Washington Commanders have run out of time, and as a result, they have taken best player available from the auto draft, Kareem Sears, Darth Sears.
Oh, wow. Bit of a shocker here today. The Commanders didn't make a pick. I don't know if their phones are broken. There is no ownership in Washington. Maybe they don't know how this works. They've never done it before. It's their first time. Magic Johnson is probably tweeting his selection and nobody's hearing it, so nobody really knows. But they're going back to their roots. Kareem is returning for a 2nd season in a row to the Commanders. Last year, as the Commanders, he made the playoffs, I believe, 2 or 3 out of 4 seasons. Even made a Super Bowl in a competitive NFC East division and a competitive NFC when it came to the playoffs. So, you know, he's used to this team. He's been there. He knows what he needs to do. I think this second year for Kareem is really going to help, and the roster's better. So, Nick, what do you think about this?
It's going to be very interesting with Jaden Daniels as the rookie quarterback there for him. I feel like we're getting some news here.
That's right, Nick. I'm getting word out of the Commanders' war room that what happened was they were not expecting Galen to go at 5. They wanted their pick of experienced players between Hyder or Kareem or Bray, who are all from the same coaching tree, and were frankly flummoxed when any of them went this early. They did not get their pick in time, and as a result, Washington ends up with Kareem for 2 years in a row. Back to you.
You know, that's still, I understand their frustration, wanting their guy and missing out. It's still unexcusable. You have to make
it. You gotta have a backup plan. You have to have.
You can't just have one guy on your board and not be aware of anything else. I'm surprised Kareem wasn't number 2. But anyway, that's enough Commanders talk. We're moving on to the Giants, who have made their picks. Let's kick it over to the commissioner.
With the 7th pick in the 2025 4th String Madden Owner Draft, New York Giants, the G-Men, select Mark Delaney of place he's Portland.
All right, the Giants, the pick of Mark. I can't beat this commissioner today. I don't know, Nick. I don't know if you've noticed he's kind of off his game. I don't think he knows where these guys are from. I don't even think he knows who these guys are. Anyway, I'm gonna talk to some people soon. We might have to get rid of him. But the Giants taking Mark, another surprise in the NFC East. I don't know if the Giants forgot they don't have Saquon, so not really sure why they would look at an owner like this. But in terms of their roster, they have the passing game with Danny Dimes and Malik Neighbors possibly. Nick, what do you think? Do you think Mark can find a halfback? Do you think he's going to become more of a passer? What do you think this team does for him?
Well, I know you're the more user-centered guy as far as knowing people, but I think the Giants must have thought that Mark can create a running game out of any running back. I mean, who is the Giants running back now? Do they have one? Do they have one on the roster?
I'm sure they do. Nobody knows his name. And if so, how good is he? He's not Saquon Barkley. So the question is, does he trade for one? Does he get one in free agency? Does he build one? How exactly would you go about this with very minimal assets besides draft?
For me, I think I would take maybe like 1 or 2 of those draft picks and either throw them out there as trade bait and try to get myself a running back, or maybe I wait and see what this draft class brings in. As we both know, we never know anything about any of these upcoming drafts.
Yeah, I do think on the back end, the defensive side, he can hold his own. They have Kevon Thibodeau. They have some young safeties and corners that make a decent core. He brings more safeties in. He's back to playing Delaney ball, as some like to call it. But the Bears have made their selection, so let's kick it over to the commissioner and see if he gets this one right.
With the 8th pick in the 2025 Madden 4th String NFL Draft of Owners, the Bears of Chicago, home of the bad pizza and sort of tall building, select Tyler Hartley.
I like this pick here from the Bears, going with Tyler. Proven winner in this league, multiple Super Bowls under his belt in a couple cycles. The Bears have young talent, and I'm actually kind of surprised Tyler fell this far. There's teams ahead of the Bears that probably should have taken this direction with their owner. But yeah, that's their pick. They get their guy, a good team builder with some young talent. He's going to make a flurry of trades. So Nick, what do you think roster-wise Tyler can do with this?
I'll say it'll be interesting to see what he does with Caleb Williams, rookie quarterback. Everybody says that he's the next big thing. It'll be very interesting to see what the Bears do with him and hopefully have a good season, hopefully have a couple of good seasons with that young talent.
Yeah, there's been rumors swirling in the offseason that about this Sim Season 1 we're doing, and
Right.
how rookies might not have devs. And I don't know if that's going to affect Tyler. I think Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison, or not Marvin Harrison, I'm sorry, Roma Dunes are still good enough players. So I don't think he'll have a problem developing this team or using them or winning Super Bowls like he's used to. So I think it's a great pick for Chicago. And, you know, they're going to, in a tough conference and a tough division, they're going to do some things. But I'm hearing we're getting some breaking news again. So we're going to kick it over to Jeff in the crowd.
That's right, Chal. I'm hearing that ownership was furious with the pick of Tyler at 8. They were not happy, and coaches and staff all in the war room are gathering around wondering if there's any way to pacify their current Bears owner. Maybe a new stadium, maybe another team that has a bear mascot. We're not sure right now, but the word is they were not all in alignment with this pick. Back to you.
All right, I'm going to have to keep my eyes on my phone, make sure there's no breaking trades at some point or anything, because I don't know, it doesn't seem like there's a good marriage going on, and that's not a great start. But enough of that, the Browns are up, so let's kick it to the commish for the next pick.
With the 9th pick in the 2025 4th String Madden NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Nick Shooky Shook.
All right, the Browns go with the hometown fan, Nick Shook, known for his work at NFL.com and NFL Network. And he's going to go ahead and take over the Browns. Shook hasn't been in the league long. He joined a little bit late last year during the cycle. You know, he piled on, he got some wins. He's looking good out there, but now he gets his full team from the start to build. A couple question marks around bigger contracts. Most notably is Deshaun Watson, obviously, and what he does. But as a fan, I wonder if he takes a different look at the team and knows which direction to take them. So, Nick, do you think the other Nick is able to make some moves in this league using the Browns?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. Sometimes being a fan of a team makes it harder to make trades. At least for me, it definitely is. I know a few guys that, what would we say, not exactly fond of Deshaun Watson. So it's going to be interesting to see what transpires there. He's got Nick Chubb. He's got a dominant defense. So it'll be very interesting to see what he does there.
And yeah, this is another owner. We don't know how he builds a team or how he wants to build it. We don't know if it's trades or free agents because that window hasn't really been available to him besides one off season. So, but it's interesting you say it's hard to part with your team when they're your hometown team, because I had the Eagles last year and I think I made like 2 trades maybe. And I didn't want to part with anybody. Everybody was always in my DMs like, hey, can I get this guy? Can I get that guy? I don't want to do that. I wonder if Shook takes the same approach and has a heart, soft spot in his heart for these guys. But I do think Deshaun Watson is probably not staying in Cleveland very long. I think the first chance you get him out of there. So we'll see what he does, but Arizona's on the clock.
That's a lot of money for some subpar quarterback play.
Well, that's half the league is subpar quarterback play for a lot of money.
It's true.
Arizona's pick is in, so we're going to go ahead and kick it to the commissioner for Arizona's pick.
The Arizona Cardinals are on the clock at pick number 10, and they have selected Christopher Slappin' Slutes.
All right, Arizona going with Slappin' Slutes. Good pick for them. As we all know, Slutes has won Super Bowls, makes the playoffs all the time. I believe he has a dominant AI when he's not around, and his computer just whoops everyone's ass anyway. So with Arizona, tough team. They got a couple of young players that are good. You still have Kyler Murray, and we'll see what he can do. And I think it's a good pick for Arizona. Slutes can hopefully bring them to the promised land. But I'm also seeing here that we got more breaking news. This just keeps happening. Crazy day at this draft. So let's kick it over to Jeff for this breaking news.
That's right, Chal. Thank you. What I'm hearing are reports from Twitter.com, formerly never called X, where the word on the street is one owner, Chal, of the Shrek's Thong tree is reportedly sliding far down some people's draft boards because of a reported video of him smoking a bong live on a web stream. Now, this isn't a confirmed report. We have not been able to confirm his identity, but we're hearing that whether it's true or not, he is going down the draft boards. Back to you, Chal.
I don't know what he's talking about. That's all lies. I've never touched a drug in my life. That's bad news. I don't know, this Twitter, whatever X you want to call it. It's just inaccurate. But this is a distracting story trying to take away from the draft. And it looks like we have the next pick is in anyway. So let's kick it to the commish for the next pick.
With the 11th pick in the 2025 Madden 4th String NFL Draft Video Game Conference of Owners, the Cincinnati Bengals have selected Chal Chattery.
All right, Chattery is going to Cincinnati, all the way down at 11. I think that's a good value pick for Cincinnati there. Chattery was not there season 4 last year, but he played the first 3 seasons with Dallas, built a good team. He's a good player. I had to play him a couple times. He won the division. He's made the playoffs twice when he was there. He's got a good roster in Cincinnati, and I think he can use it to his advantage. Nick, this is one of the few teams in this game that is kind of built to win now, but also in a way built to keep winning for the cycle of our league. So what do you think Chattery lucked out getting this job where he could just kind of coast with a roster that's built?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. Burrow's already on a contract, so you don't got to worry about re-signing him. A pretty good defense, at least, especially in the pass rush. You got speed all over in defensive backfield. I mean, it's a nightmare to play against.
Yeah, I mean, if he does what Drew could do with the Bengals last year, Drew had 99s on both ends of the ball. You couldn't pass on him, you couldn't run on its defense, and then he would just drop 70 on you with the blink of an eye. So, Chattery is built to succeed. So hopefully he can do some things with the Bengals, probably make the playoffs multiple times, and maybe there's a little MVP in his future too. But the Titans are the next pick, and the Titans are an interesting one because they're probably the worst team in the game, right? I would say.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not built to win now. Definitely not built to win later.
Yeah, I think I've had this conversation with a couple people.
Is the only player anybody knows.
Yeah, and even that is a stretch for some people, I'm sure. But it looks like the Titans took their time. They made their pick, and the committee.
With the 12th pick in the 4th String NFL Owner Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Mikey Cohen. Back to you.
All right. Tennessee taking Mikey, pick number 12. I like this pick for Tennessee. Mikey's a long-time leaguer, knows what he's doing in this league, knows his way around it. The only downside to Tennessee, if there is ever one, is that they are not good. They need a lot, and they need it now. With our cycle being so short, only 4 years, I would say the Tennessee Titans and their situation is probably one of the hardest to build. But somebody had to land them. They had to take someone. Nobody was going to love it. So I think Mikey can build it, and hopefully he can make the Titans competitive. But again, tough roster. I would ask you to speak on it, but we only know Will Levis is there, so I don't know if you have anything to add.
Treylon Burks, who hasn't really shown much of anything. I'm sure Titans fans everywhere are still upset about A.J. Brown being traded.
I mean, yeah, A.J. Brown is gone, but, he's in Philadelphia now, who conveniently is our next pick. So we go from the worst team to the best team at some point. And if you can't say anything about Tennessee's roster, you could say a lot about Philadelphia's. For top to bottom, this is just a team, and they're dominant. Everybody signed long term. So I think this is the team everybody wanted. And I think maybe that's why the Titans went with Mikey. They didn't want him to go to Philadelphia. They wanted to get their guy now. They didn't want to see him go somewhere else. They wanted to build his program. So in terms of the Eagles, what do you What do you think a user has to do to win with the Eagles?
Not much. I mean, you've got Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, uh, Goddard,
Yeah,
and
so I
then
wonder.
they just added Jahan Dotson. I mean, you tell me, is there a weak spot on the Eagles roster?
I don't know, but we should have launched the league like 2 days ago, so they didn't have them. But it looks like the Eagles have made their selection, and we're going to go to the commissioner and see if they took a hometown Philly guy or if they went outside the box for one.
With the 13th pick in the 2014 Madden Football Draft for the 4th String League, the Philadelphia Eagles select Drew Stengel, the Bengal.
All right. I'm not surprised by this pick at all. Philadelphia has a long history in this league, at least since I've been here, where whoever has Philadelphia is they're an Eagles fan. There's no probably about it. Every time I've had Tyler was the Eagles, I was the Eagles, Drew was now the Eagles. I think I was also the Eagles another time. So they always go to a hometown guy. But with this roster and Drew taking over, that is an absolute deadly combo. And I don't know if we should play this year or maybe just hand Drew all the Owls.
I mean, if all games were played on paper, we would never have the games we played, right?
Ah, yeah, but this paper's pretty strong.
No argument there. I had the pleasure of playing Drew in the wild card of our final season, and that was not fun.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the NFC does have what we consider the tougher conference this year. So somebody had to be the Eagles, and I mean, whoever got them was going to have a team, and they were going to win a lot of games. I think they're dangerous with Drew, a little more than usual, but good for him. Gets his hometown team, gets to enjoy it, doesn't have to move far, can root from his couch. And then the Broncos are taking their time here because they got some issues on their roster, and they need to build. So I think they're taking their time to pick the perfect owner. I don't really know who that is. There's a couple builders left that they could go for. But there's also some brand new people in here. There's other guys that haven't really proven themselves, and there's guys that can just play on the sticks. So what direction do you think they're going to go?
So they got to look for somebody that has faith in Bo Nix just like they do.
That's 1 in a million. But it looks like the commissioner is up, and they have made their selection, so let's kick it over for the Broncos.
With the 14th pick in the 2025 4th String Madden Owner Draft, the Denver Broncos select Jeffrey the Savage.
All right. So the Broncos went brand new. Savage has been here a little bit. I wouldn't say it's enough for any of these teams to know what he's capable of. So the Broncos are looking to do something brand new. So they go with a new owner, and I can't really comment what they're going to do with that, but hopefully he absolutely loves Bo Nix because I don't know if there's much else going on in Denver. Cool uniforms, cool stadium.
That's about it.
Yeah, but oh man, I'm sorry, I'm not going to blow it up today because there's just more breaking news coming in, and we want to get this action to you, but we're going to stop. We're going to hit up Jeff, see what's going on in the crowd.
Thank you, Chal. Yes, I'm hearing word that John Farber has been falling down some teams' draft boards almost entirely undraftable, as some of the ownership and scouts out there are concerned that he does not have the commitment to football that one looks for in a first-round draft pick. I'm hearing that volleyball might be the sport that truly owns his heart, and in fact, he has been drafted by the Sacramento Synonymous. So that could be an alternate career path for him. Back to you, Chal.
Jeff's coming in with news that, again, I think that's kind of false. These reports that he wants to go play volleyball. While he may love volleyball, whatever team he signed for, that's definitely not. So I don't know how much I'm going to buy into this rumor, but we'll see. Yeah, maybe he gets picked soon. The Vikings are up. They could use a Farber as their leader, so maybe he goes now, but I don't believe this volleyball hype. What about you, Nick?
No. I feel like he's here for the long haul. He's probably letting every team know that too. I'm sure he had talks with every ownership leading up to this draft.
Well, it looks like the Vikings have made their pick, so let's kick it over to the commissioner and see if Farber is playing volleyball or football.
With the 15th pick in the 2025 fourth string Madden owner draft, the Minnesota Vikings go select Chal of the Shrek tree.
Okay, well, never thought I'd see the day where I get to talk about myself for a while. So anyway, I'm obviously going to win a lot of Super Bowls with this team. Those ball rumors were outrageous. So clearly we cannot trust this network. Yeah, that's all I got.
So I gotta ask then. I mean, I've got you right here. So, are you rolling with JJ McCarthy or Sam Darnold or?
I think JJ McCarthy is the guy. I'm not a heavy trader, so we'll probably just hang out with Sam Darnold and let his contract expire, maybe cut him. But we're definitely riding with JJ and seeing what he can do.
That'll be interesting. I mean, JJ's knee may not be what everybody's expecting it to be. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't throw the ball very well, admittedly. More of a runner. They do have, they got rid of Cook, unfortunately. But they got Green Bay's running back. I forget his name at the moment.
Aaron Jones.
So I got him. But, I can always just heave it to JJ as a prayer. I'm looking forward to it. I also like their uniforms in their stadium. So, all around, not mad at the pick. At least I'm not the Rams, and at least I'm not the Dallas Cowboys. So, but the next pickup is the Texans, coming off a great season. Just made the playoffs, but also in this league, they've done some things. They got a great roster. Even when the Texans were bad, they were kind of good. So now they got C.J. Stroud, year 2, highly rated in this Madden, I would assume. Nick, you see any flaws in this roster? Long term or short term?
I think it's just going to come down to being able to keep C.J. Stroud around. We know, like we said before, some of our owners don't exactly care too much about keeping a star quarterback, so we'll see what happens there.
All right, it looks like the Texans have handed in their card. They are ready for their new owner, so let's kick it to the commissioner to see who that is.
With the 16th pick in the 2025 Madden fourth string draft, the Houston Texans select right tackle Christopher Madden Chef.
All right, the Texans going outside, getting a new owner, an unproven owner. Chef has been here briefly, played a little bit of Madden 24 near the end. So this is another guy that's going higher than you might expect when it comes to new owners. You don't know anything about him. You don't know what he wants to do with your team, whether he wants to trade everybody right away or whether he wants to keep everybody around. This Texans roster is good enough that you should keep everyone around. But, Nick, do you think maybe he's got some trade bait out there, some players he's already eyeing up to put on the block?
I mean, if I were going to trade anybody on that Texans roster, Nico Collins might be one of my guys I would put out there. Big receiver, not exactly a burner, but he can come down with some catches for you.
Nick, I hate to interrupt you, but once again, I mean, we have more breaking news. It's either breaking news or Jeff just likes to talk. But let's go to Jeff in the crowd once again to see what's going on.
Thank you, Chal. What I'm hearing is John Farber's slide may continue deep into this draft. The Sacramento Shanties have indeed offered him a contract to go along with his first overall pick in the volleyball draft, and it has been scaring teams off. Obviously a top 10 selection, otherwise he may have a long time in that grade. Back to you.
All right, just more volleyball news. Still don't believe it. Never heard of these Sacramento Shanties, or whatever they're called. But we'll see. I mean, what are we at? We are coming up on pick 17. Farber, he was probably a top 10 guy. He slid a little bit. People are saying I was sliding too for nefarious reasons. That didn't happen. So I think he's going to go soon. I think a team needs him. A team wants him. But for now, it looks like the Colts are handing in their card. The commissioner's walking to the podium. So let's see who they go with.
With the 17th pick in the 2025 Madden 4th String Draft. The Indianapolis Colts select Keith Teeth.
Okay, the Colts are taking Keith, otherwise known as Teeth, with the 17th overall pick. I kind of like this selection for them. Admittedly, Keith himself would say that he's not great at throwing the ball. He likes to joke about how he throws so many interceptions. But with this team, you have something interesting where you have an athlete at quarterback and you have Jonathan Taylor at halfback. So I think Keith, if he went to running the ball, worked on building his defense up, and just pounded it inside and used a lot of QB sweeps and QB runs, I think he could be productive. But Nick, do you see any other flaws or highlights with this Colts roster that's kind of mediocre, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, having the Colts last year, I do remember Michael Pittman being a very viable threat downfield if you can get him the ball. I had trouble with that. I moved on to utilizing a more run-heavy approach, and then final season I traded Jonathan Taylor away. Probably not the greatest decision I've ever made as a GM, but it was fun. I think Anthony Richardson, as you said, being an athlete at quarterback definitely helps a lot. Alec Pierce isn't a bad receiver either, so they got a pretty good receiving core there.
Yeah, I mean, they got youth. They're built. They're not a bad team to start, but in 4 years, you can really build that team and develop them, especially if you can utilize Anthony Richardson, and you don't have to be so pass heavy with it, but just get him the yards and get him the stats and get him the wins, and he can be really dominant. And I know you said Michael Pittman in Madden. He is very good for some reason. And in real life, I guess he's okay. I think he's average, maybe. He's not like a true number one to me. But in this game, he's phenomenal. He develops quickly, so I think Teeth got a good team here. And if he sticks to running the ball, I think he should be going far and making some playoffs in this league. But the Jets are on the clock, and it looks like they are ready to hand him their pick. I see the commissioner walking down, so let's go ahead and get that pick.
With the 18th pick in the 2025 Madden 4th String Draft, the New York Jets have selected John Hunaficker Farver.
All right, the Jets make the splash. They take the guy that was thinking about volleyball. To me, this is just typical New York media, typical Jets. They're getting a guy that they don't even know is going to play. He's saying he's signing this contract for volleyball. Now the Jets are like, oh my God, let's take him. I don't know. I'm concerned if I'm the Jets. If Farber stays and he doesn't want to go play volleyball, great pick for the Jets. Roster-wise, Nick, what are your thoughts there?
You got Aaron Rodgers, and I mean that's about all you got. With you guess you got Garrett Wilson, and I think they got Mike Williams this past offseason, so a couple more receivers. You got. I'm not even sure, besides Sauce Gardner, who they have on that defense, though. And I know the Jets are typically a good defensive team, but I just can't think of anybody else off the top of my head right now.
So I guess right now, for the Jets, their main issue is, I would say, Aaron Rodgers. He is like 78 years old and high as hell on mushrooms and whatever else. He's not, he might not last too long, but that's a lot of money to an old guy. So I think that's something he's going to have to figure out and navigate. I don't know what they're paying guys in volleyball, but he might not be used to managing this high money in the same thing. So that's going to be an adjustment. So we'll see. I think the Jets get a steal if he shows up. Like I said, he is playing for the Sacramento something. So
I was just thinking, do you think the New York media was who was putting out those reports? Trying to steer teams away from their guy?
If we're being honest, Jeff's sources have been a little flimsy tonight. So it could be the New York media just pushing and pushing until they get a guy. But
with the 19th pick in the 2025 4th String Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select hometown Will Borjor.
All right, that's the second Pennsylvania team sticking with their hometown guy and fan favorite. Pittsburgh goes ahead and they take Will with the 19th pick. this is a team he's fond of, which says a lot since he seems to hate everybody else, even the Steelers sometimes. So I guess the Steelers probably knew nobody else was going to take him because he wouldn't like it. So the Steelers were like, all right, let's just grab him. He's a good owner and go with it. He probably knows this team very well, probably knows what he wants to do. The one interesting thing about Pittsburgh and this team in terms of like a 4-year cycle, they have 2 quarterbacks. And one of them is Russell Wilson. So he's still making a lot of money as far as I know. It's just, no, he's not making a lot of money, I'm hearing. So maybe he cuts Russell. Maybe he goes with Fields. But Fields isn't very good either. And I don't know who anybody prefers either way. So, Nick, what do you think Will does with this roster? Do you think it's Fields? Do you think there's anything else he might try to build and just neglect the quarterback?
I think if it were me, I would probably use Fields. I would cut Russ. We're talking in terms of Madden here. We're talking in terms of real life. I'd probably start Russ and let Fields sit back. But in terms of Madden, I think you got to cut Russ loose. I think he's who's going to be our Dak Prescott in this league this time around. I think he'll bounce around from team to team as a backup, as a viable backup. But the Steelers, I think with Will, they're going to rely heavily on Najee Harris and I can't remember the other running back's name. Jalen Warren, I believe is his name. But I think they're gonna use those 2 guys. I'm sure he's really hoping for them to make a push for Ayuk before we start this league, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when this is going to be out to the public, but if they get Ayuk before that, then that's a huge upgrade and something Will could really work with. But looks like the 20th pick for the Buccaneers is in. So let's go ahead and go to the commissioner to see what that pick is. Jeff, you're muted.
Ah, shucks. With the 20th pick in the Tampa Bay, with the 20th, it's Braylon.
All right. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. So I'll go ahead and for the crowd out there, with the 20th pick, the Bucs have selected Braylon. Braylon falls to 20, which I think is pretty crazy. He is fresh off a couple playoff runs. You know, he's won the NFC East in season 4. It's funny enough that his dad went above him. I guess they decided they want the older mind rather than the younger mind. And I'd love to
get it wrong.
I'd love to really dig into this pick, but once again, looks like Jeff is being needy, and we have more breaking news. So let's see what's going out there in the fan world.
That's right, Chal. I'm getting word that backstage in the green room, there's quite a ruckus going on, and security has got to be involved. Now, we don't yet know what is happening or who is involved, but it seems like one of the owners has become disgruntled at his late slide and is making his displeasure known to the rest. Back to you.
See, this is what happens when people think they should be going top 10, top 5, and they're sitting around. You know, I've been in that green room. There's comfortable couches, plenty of food, drinks. I don't know why they're in a hurry to leave. I don't know why you're mad. Let the teams take their times, get the guys they need. You know, there's 32. You're going to go somewhere. I don't know what all that commotion is about. Again, this could just be smoke and mirrors. Nick, do you see anything going on behind you? I don't see the crowd getting too wild.
I don't know. I mean, I will say it is funny, like you said, like typically if you're going in the top 5, top 10, you got to think about the fact that you're probably not going to a contender. You're going somewhere that needs some work, so I don't know why you'd be upset.
Yeah, I mean, this draft it's been a surprise. It's unknown. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. I mean, usually this is done in the dark. You know, this just happens naturally. This year, it's a nationally televised event. Everybody's watching. People are maybe expecting things that they don't. But, you know, you got to let the chips fall as they will, and you'll go where you want. And I am very curious to find out who is causing all that ruckus, because we might have to kick them out and send them home. But it looks like the Jags are done with their pick. They've made a decision. So let's go to the commissioner and see if they made the right decision.
With the 21st pick in the Madden NFL 4th String 2025 draft of owners from Virginia Beach, T.L. Foster!
All right, the Jaguars taking one of the only Jags fans in the world, besides the guy from that TV show that I don't really recall. He was a big Jags fan as well. TL knows this team. He loves this team. And I think they make a great pick here. They snag him late. A lot of teams must have passed on TL. And not sure why he fell so much. But this is a great landing spot for him. Nick, roster-wise, they got a decent amount. What do you think about their roster overall? What TL can do with them?
Okay, you got Trevor Lawrence, you got Travis Etienne, you got Evan Ingram at tight end, who's actually come around. And especially in Madden is a force to be reckoned with. But on the defensive side, you've got Josh Allen, what some would consider the better Josh Allen. And you also have, why can't I? Help me. Who's the other defensive end?
I have no idea. I don't know much about the Jags.
Aiden Hutchinson's the Lions, sir.
Ignore me.
And that's why he's the commissioner and not an analyst.
Anyway, Trevor Lawrence is definitely TL's kind of quarterback. I think he'll keep him, and I think he has maybe a little soft spot in his heart for that kind of thing. And keeping his guys around. Usually TL is kind of a heavy turnover trader, really turns his team and builds it the way he wants. But maybe with the Jags, he kind of keeps them the way they are. Maybe doesn't move them to Virginia Beach and keeps them in Jacksonville. So we'll see how he does. And I got high hopes for TL as his favorite team. But the Lions are up next, one of the most interesting teams. Everybody wants to huck it deep to JMO. And it looks like the commissioner's ready to announce who they have selected.
What pick is this, 22?
Mm-hmm.
With the 22nd pick in the 4th String League's Madden 2025 draft, the Detroit Lions select Jeffrey, the Commissioner Solomon. Yay!
Oh, the Detroit Lions bringing up a celebrity pick. The commissioner sent his dog out to make a pick. Maybe because he's too embarrassed to announce himself. I don't know. But either way, Jeff goes to the Lions. Pretty good team to start. You know, you got good receivers. You got a great offense, actually. One of the best O-line. Got a very solid defense with some youth and some players around. Probably need a secondary to develop. But everybody knows Jeff. Everybody knows how this is going to go. Nick, how many of these players are on his team after the day we launch?
Maybe one.
That one being
That
James.
might just be Jameson Williams. Actually, hold on. I'll go two. He'll have one on each side of the ball. Jameson Williams on offense, Aiden Hutchinson on defense. Even though he didn't know what team Aiden Hutchinson played for a second ago.
Part of me feels like, even though nobody knows what the teams are, Jeff's already got Aiden Hutchinson going to Jacksonville already. That's why he thinks he's there. Typical Jeff moves. You know, he's the commissioner. He just trades players at a whim, gets what he wants, gets all the first round picks. Surprised he didn't trade up to number one in this draft. Crazy. But everybody wants the Lions in this league. And that's obviously because of JMO. I think that fascination started when Drew had the Lions and got a quarterback that could just heave it deep. Now it's Jeff, who has Miami in the past. You know, he's used Dallas in the past, teams with fast wide receivers. So he's used to them. But after JMO, there's no speed at the wide receiver. Amon-Ra's more of a possession, catch in the middle kind of guy. You got a great tight end. You got a great running back. I'm interested to see if Jeff utilizes JMO to just keep in his deep balls, which he loves. But as a roster and as an owner, I think Jeff's going to do fine and probably have plenty of superstars and X factors everybody can yell at him about. But it looks like he's coming back out to announce the Bills pick, number 23.
With the 23rd pick, the Buffalo Bills select Brian Briano squiggly line, Holiday.
All right, Brian going to snowy old Buffalo. Buffalo is a solid team in terms of Madden. Solid team that can go 4 years without making a ton of changes. Brian's unknown for huge turnover. He's mainly like a draft and develop guy, I would say. He's going to win some games, especially with a team to start like this. So in terms of the roster, Nick, what are your thoughts? Where does he need to improve? And how can he get the best out of him?
Well, I would say that even though James Cook is the brother of Dalvin Cook, I would say that so far he has not proven to be as good. I would say he needs to get a running back in there in Buffalo with the weather. Even though Josh Allen can sling that ball and cut through the air, they definitely need a running game. And with Stephon Diggs being gone, it'll be very interesting to see what happens there.
So Brian's another guy. He's been in this league a while. He comes and goes sometimes. Busy life, things happen. I get it. But he's also another guy that likes to make fun of himself for throwing a lot of interceptions. And funny enough, this reminds me of when we started Madden 24. I believe Keith had the Bills. And he was throwing a ton of interception with Josh Allen. Led him to trading him and getting a new quarterback. So part of me wonders if Josh Allen is not the right QB for Brian, how quickly is he going to stay with him? Does he cut him right away? Would you ever consider trading Josh Allen if you had the Bills?
I would not, but that's just me. I think once you've got that star quarterback, you gotta ride with him and figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's hard to play without them. Definitely in terms of Madden, the abilities, especially for quarterbacks, is huge. Makes them play way different than everybody else, which I think is a great thing. So we'll see if Brian's able to get the best out of the Bills and Josh Allen and stick with it. And it looks like the Niners made their pick, and they're ready to announce it.
With the 24th pick in the 2025 Madden 4th String NFL Draft of Owners, the San Francisco 49ers have selected Nick Condit.
All right, Nick, you go. 24 overall.
I have no idea.
To your favorite team, the San Francisco 49ers. A team you probably know how to build, a team you probably know very well. What are your plans? Where do you think you're going this season? You got Super Bowl aspirations?
Oh, it's gonna be tough. I do know that the cap situation is gonna be tough to navigate with CMC and knowing that I'm gonna have to pay Brock Purdy after a year or two. I don't know. It's I've never had the 49ers in an online league before, so it's gonna be very interesting.
Does part of you hope Ayuk is gone before we start, or do you kind of want Ayuk?
I want Ayuk to stay. I really hope that even in real life they don't trade him. Like, that is my hope, 100%.
I mean, you can get a couple first-round picks out of it. Well, probably not a couple, maybe one or two. Hold you over for the next few years, but I don't know. I mean, it's a great team to start. Brock Purdy, for me, would be the biggest concern. In Madden, he's pretty solid. I think I've used him once or twice last Madden. I haven't really played this one much, but he's pretty solid. He's young. With that contract, I mean, he's been demanding top money. Can you afford it?
Yeah, that's going to be the part that makes it tough.
Then on the defense, you got some high-paid players back there too. So, I mean,
yeah,
I'm assuming you're in win now mode, not win season 4 mode.
Right. Yeah, no, 100% win now mode.
And that's the thing that's everybody's got to love about this league. Sometimes in 4 years, you got 4 chances at a Super Bowl. You got to plan it right. If you get a team that's great to start, you got to go for it right away before it breaks down. If you got a team that's bad, you got to build them for 2 years, go for 3 and 4. So, well, good luck to you. Glad to get your favorite team, both in the NFC. I'll probably see you a couple of times. We're going to go ahead and kick it over to the commission for the announcement of the Packers.
With the 25th pick in the 2025 Madden 4th String NFL Owner Draft, the Green Bay Packers have selected Mariner Fant.
All right. Packers are going with Mariner. Longtime leaguer. One of the only guys in this league that I think watches every single game that is played in this league. I think the man likes him more than the NFL at this point. I think he was even gone for a stint and still watched every game while he was gone. But my biggest concern here, and I don't know if the Packers don't know who's on their roster, but they don't have Noah Fant. And that's going to upset Mariner, first of all. The second of all, it means he's going to have to go trade for him. And as we all know in this league, Noah Fant goes for 7 first-round picks minimum. So, Nick, do you think his first step is getting Noah Fant? And how do you build the Packers from there?
I would say, I wouldn't even be surprised if he puts Jordan Love up for Noah Fant.
I'd take that deal.
I think a lot of people would. It's going to be very interesting to see what he gives up for Fant this time around. Or if that trade gets vetoed.
True, people don't like to give him Fant all the time. But in terms of the roster, how do you think the Packers shape up, especially for Mariner with this 2 tight end set that he likes to run?
Do the Packers have a tight end?
They do. I mean, they don't have 2 of them.
Right. I'm just saying, I'm trying to think of who they have.
Well, their starter this year should be Luke Musgrave. I believe he's a rookie. Maybe it's a second year.
Yeah, I was gonna say now that you say the name, I remember it. But I don't watch the Packers all that often, so I really I don't know much about them.
Yeah, well,
I know. What's they let Aaron Jones go, and then they have Adrian
they
Dillon.
got Josh Jacobs.
And then they got Josh Jacobs. That came in, yeah.
Yeah, he'll probably just pound the rock with Josh Jacobs till he can find Noah Fant. Then he'll just have Luke Musgrave and Noah Fant. So he could just run Josh Jacobs to the ground. But the Chiefs have handed in their card. They are ready to make their pick. The coveted Chiefs.
With the 26th pick in the Madden 25 4th string draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Scott Smith, Nemesis Prime.
All right, number 26 overall goes Scott. Last year's Packers. And now he gets the Chiefs, who have the cheat code Patrick Mahomes. We all saw Patrick Mahomes get traded last year, which I think is kind of silly because that would never, ever happen in real life. But nonetheless, we saw Patrick Mahomes on the move. Do you think Patrick Mahomes gets traded this cycle at all?
I don't think so. I think his contract is just too extensive, and he is just too good to want to actually deal away.
Yeah, on the other side, you get Chris Jones and you get Patrick Mahomes. And from there, I don't think it matters what else you have because those are 2 of the best players in the game on both sides of the ball. So I think with Patrick Mahomes and Scott being someone that throws a lot of interceptions, maybe Patrick Mahomes gives him the old Todd treatment and he turns it around and the Chiefs are contenders and he's winning Super Bowls left and right because of Mahomes, which I think is very possible. Outside of that, they don't have many receivers. They got Xavier Worthy, right?
Right.
Probably a 97, 98 speed in Madden. Someone you can chuck and pray to. But nope. Seem to be getting more news. We're going to go to Jeff in the field. This seems to be big news. So let's see what he's got.
Thank you, Chal. Yes, I've had confirmed reports now that after the Chiefs finished turning in their card, Adrian Todzaniga left the green room in utter rage at having been passed over. Now, there are still several AFC teams left that could choose him, or perhaps he has been selected in the NFC this coming season after a blistering upgrade in Season 4 of Madden 24. Time will tell, but Adrian will not be around to walk on stage when it happens. They will have to find him out in the streets. Back to you, Chal.
All right. Well, I guess that's what that ruckus was about earlier. He was probably getting frustrated, all fed up, and just wanted to leave, but they wouldn't let him because they needed him for the TV shots and the interviews. But it's okay. He's free to go. It's getting a bit late here. Probably past his bedtime. But the commissioner seems to be ready to keep chugging along and making the next pick is the Chargers. So let's kick it to the commissioner and see who they got.
With the 27th pick in the 2025 Madden 4th String Draft, the San Diego Chargers select Chad, the Golden Boy Urban.
All right. I really like this pick for the Chargers. Going with Chad. I think he's a proven guy in this league. Consistent winner. Has some down years here and there, but for the most part, he's always up there competing. Loves to run the football. Loves to do it the short, intermediate passes. However, with the Chargers, we have seen them historically in this league. They're one of the easiest teams to build for. I don't even know why it's so easy. Maybe it's Herbert and all the young weapons they always have, but never pan out in real life. But where do you see Chad placing? Do you see him making some runs? And how do you think this roster is?
I mean, you've got Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on the edge. You got Derwin James holding it down in the defensive backfield. Then, like you said, you've got Herbert at quarterback. You've got, even though he's not panning out in real life so far, Quentin Johnston is just, I mean, you can almost argue he's a cheat code in Madden. He's got some speed and size. And you look at just the offensive line, I'm not really sure about. And they let Austin Eckler go, and they have Gus Edwards and the second or third year player Isaiah Spiller in the backfield. But it'll be very interesting to see what direction he takes.
I like Gus Edwards. It's fun. Didn't he go to Michigan?
I believe he started at Michigan. I want to say never mind. That was Erlon Tipton. Wow.
I feel like John Harbaugh recruited him, and now he's all of a sudden playing for him. But I like this Chargers team because I think, especially with an owner in Chad, he can really run the ball with Gus Edwards, get some yards. I see him making the playoffs continuously with this team and maybe surprising people, airing it out more with Justin Herbert. I'd be chucking it just because it's so fun to do with that guy. But it looks like we are chugging along in this draft. We are at pick number 28 out of 32. We've had a lot of storylines go down today. We had somebody storm off. We've had fights in the crowd. It's been a crazy day. I'm getting tired. And we got pick number 28. The Cowboys are up, and let's see who they got.
The 28th pick in the thing, the Cowboys select Steve Montani. Steve B. Thank you.
All right, the Cowboys going with Stevie B. Stevie B came in Madden 23, took over the Ravens after somebody left. And he did pretty well with them. I mean, the last season, season 4, he kind of gutted his team and still made him run at the playoffs. I think he made the playoffs. I really don't remember. I'm like a goldfish out here, short-term memory. But in terms of the team, I mean, it's a good team. Nick, what do you think of the team in general and what Stevie could probably do with this Cowboys roster?
I would say his number one order of business, if it doesn't happen before we start, is re-signing CeeDee Lamb, giving him an extension. On the defensive side, you got Micah Parsons. Quarterback play, I mean, we've already talked about it. Dak Prescott, what do you do with him? I mean, do you keep him? Do you trade him? Do you do the unthinkable and let Trey Lance start over him? I mean, as a 49ers fan, I can make that joke now. we failed on that pick, but now it'll be interesting to see what he does in Dallas with those guys. I mean, like you said, that team's built to win now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the NFC East. The Eagles already took their guy. The Commanders already took their guy. The Giants already took their guys. So the Cowboys were the last to pick in their division. We all know Jerry Jones is probably pissed about that. I wonder if he wanted a guy like Drew just to take him from the Eagles, but he didn't get him. So he gets Stevie, and I think Stevie's going to do some things. Nobody really knows. Again, he's kind of an unknown guy, kind of a newer guy. So it's going to be interesting to see how he shapes his team. And like you said, first order of business, give CeeDee Lamb his money. And yeah, that's all I have on the Cowboys. I personally hate them, so I hope they never win a game this cycle. But looks like the Saints are up, and they have made their pick. So let's go ahead and kick it over to the commissioner for that.
with the 29th pick in the 2025 fourth string Madden owner draft. The New Orleans Saints select Zach Novak.
All right, Novak going to the Saints. First, I want to say maybe Todd's not going to get a team. Walking out is not a great look. I think teams saw that and they weren't really loving it. But Novak to the Saints, great pick for them. We got 3 picks left, and the Saints are a team that probably nobody wanted. Curious how Novak's going to do with them. Kind of an unknown guy, kind of a weird roster, but once again, I'm getting some breaking news here. I'm told Jeff has some input on the situation that we had earlier. Jeff, what's going on?
Thank you, Chal. Yes, I just heard that the Cowboys had actually called up Adrian Todd Zuniga and informed him that he was going to be their selection. However, when Adrian picked up the call, he told them to go f themselves. Back to you, Chal.
Wow.
Yeah, that's some shocking news. I wouldn't say that to a team that's trying to hire you, so that's not a good look. He might keep slipping here. I don't know if he's going to get picked. You know, these 3 teams left, the Dolphins, the Falcons, and the Ravens. I don't know if that's somewhere that they want him with that kind of attitude. What do you think? You tell that to Jerry Jones. Do you think anybody else is going to take him?
There's a very good possibility that not following the golden rule of the league for one, but 2, does he drop to the 2nd round and be a team's backup owner?
I mean, that's always something. Nobody ever wants to do that. But you're out here telling teams to go fuck themselves. I don't know if that's going to work out.
How many F-bombs do we get on this thing?
What's that?
So how many F-bombs do we get on this thing?
Apparently 2. I'm told we might have more. We will have to see how this plays out. But it looks like the Dolphins have made their pick. They're coming to the podium. Let's see what they do.
With the 30th pick in the 2025 fourth string NFL draft of owners, the Miami Dolphins, the only team to ever finish an undefeated season as champions, selects Adrian Todd Zuniga.
All right. Well, it looks like after all that commotion, the Dolphins took a chance. They took Adrian Todd Zuniga. He's been waiting. I wonder if he's even home yet, if he's still walking down the street to get home. But, he lands in Miami. We all know he just wants a guy that he can bomb it to. So he's got 2 of them there. And the only problem is he has Tua. He's left-handed, and I'm sure that's going to be an issue for him. He's probably going to complain about it, just like Jeff did for a while. But overall, Miami's got a good roster. Nick, what's your take on that?
You got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You're going to have to pick your poison with that, with the way he loves to throw the ball downfield. I wouldn't be too surprised if maybe he tries to package one of those guys with something else to the Chiefs and maybe try to get Mahomes out from under him.
So you think Todd's success from the end of 24 with Mahomes was solely Mahomes based, and you don't think he could do it with anybody else?
I think it's going to be tough to go from Mahomes back to, I'm not going to say subpar quarterback play, but middle of the road quarterback play.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. But otherwise, I mean, the rest of the team, even with subpar quarterback, I mean, that defense is loaded with talent and they're young. So I think he can make it work. This is a big risk by the Dolphins. I mean, a guy with that kind of attitude that's just going to walk out of the green room. I mean, we had an interview scheduled. There's still 20 seconds till the next pick, and that was the time that was going to fill it. So now we might just have dead air for a while because Adrian Todd decided to just go ahead and leave. But I'm sure Jeff has some breaking news, so let's go see what he has to say.
Tua's an X factor and like 88 overall, guys. We're talking about middle of the road. Jeez, relax with your biases.
I didn't know we were taking Jeff's opinion on football players now. I thought it was just breaking news out there. Looks like he's been enjoying the draft too much, talking to too many fans, and getting a little one-sided on this. But the Falcons are up at the podium. They're ready to make their pick. We got 2 more left. 2 owners on the board. who's it going to be?
Just as a league reminder to everyone, it is not yet allowed to discuss trades. Thank you. And now, with the 31st pick in the 2025 Madden Football Draft, in 4th string, the Atlanta Falcons have selected Julian Katsu from Washington, D.C.
All right, Julian headed to the Falcons. One of the last picks on the board. And this is a great pick. Falcons got a good team, cool uniforms, fun stadium. But I'm also hearing that there's breaking news, and I wonder if this has to do with that weird announcement the commissioner made about trains. Jeff, what are you hearing out there?
Yes, Chal. Right after the Falcons made their selection, the commissioner came back out and actually announced that the player was in fact traded. Excuse me, the owner. Julian Katsu is going to Chicago. He has packed his bags. He is heading to O'Hare Airport, and Tyler Hartling will be the Atlanta Falcons. Back to you, Chal.
Okay, a big trade to end the day almost. Tyler is going to Atlanta, actually. They made the trade. They want Tyler as their owner, and Chicago really wanted Julian, so he's going to head up to Chicago. Nick, do you think this had something to do with maybe the Falcons having more developmental players available?
I'll say I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Hartling voiced his own displeasure with Chicago selecting him. We heard the weird report about the ownership of Chicago being upset with who they picked. That's a very good possibility that those sides kind of clashed earlier, maybe even during the interview process.
Yeah, well, that sends I'm blanking. That sends Julian up to Chicago, where Julian gets a quarterback, and he gets the wide receiver now that are young, and he can do some work with. And I think that's a great trade. I think Chicago benefits tremendously. And I think the Falcons, I don't know, I just have to hope they have developmental players, or things could go south very quick. And it looks like the final pick of the Madden 25 4th string draft is up. The Ravens are ready to make their pick, and I wonder who they took, because there's definitely not only one guy left.
With the 32nd pick in the 2025 Madden Football Owner Draft, the world champion Baltimore Ravens select Andrew McMahon.
All right, the final pick is in. It's going to be Andrew McMahon. Funny enough, I think he was also one of the last people to join this last cycle. He joined as Arizona, got some wins under his belt. He beat my ass by 41 time when he was 0-4 and I was 4-0. And then he went on to almost make the playoffs, or make the playoffs that year, I believe. So a good owner, the Ravens. They're getting a good guy here with the final pick. Can't believe he slid that far.
Right.
But Nick, what are your final takes on the Ravens? Obviously Lamar Jackson, other guys surrounding him. What do they got to do, and can Andrew make a run with them?
I'll say you've got a running back at quarterback with Lamar Jackson. You got Derrick Henry to support him. You've got Rashad Bateman, who's kind of working his way to becoming a better receiver overall. You've got Mark Andrews at tight end, Isaiah Likely at tight end, and then that defense is pretty good too. So Andrew will be a force to be reckoned with that team, I feel.
I agree. I think he's going to do some good things with him, have a lot of rushing yards with Lamar, and have fun with them. So, but anyway, it's been a great night. Been a great draft, exciting. A lot of storylines went down. A lot of crazy things happened. I would have never expected this. My first time doing this, and your first time doing this. I had a great time, and I hope we do it again next year.
I'll be here.
Yeah, I don't actually mean that though.
Ah.
But it looks like the commissioner has no more announcements. We have all 32 teams out there. Everybody is aware. We're going to kick it to Jeff one more time to see if he has any more breaking news on this fun night. And yeah, Jeff, what do you got?
Thank you, Chal. Yes, I have deep breaking news. It's going to be a great season. That's it.
All right, there you go.
And we're clear.